Hello, hello, and welcome to that Second Gen Life with Samhar. I'm your host, Samhar Raya. If you are a second generationer, child of immigrants, a diaspora leader, professional change maker, however you identify, this space is for you. This podcast is more than just storytelling. It's about strategy, identity, leadership, communities, finding yourself in this beautiful diasporic journey we're all going through. We'll talk about everything from navigating the workforce as a diaspora professional to the role that you can play in making an impact from where you are, locally or around the world. We'll talk about the realities and joys of being a second generationer, some of the challenges, some of the delights, but most importantly, we're going to remind you that you are powerful, that you belong, and that your job here is to create the spaces you wish existed. Hey everyone, welcome to that Second Gen Life with Samhar. I'm your host, Samhar Araya, and today we're doing a very special episode in honor of May 25, also celebrated as Africa Day. Yes, I am on vacation enjoying the most wonderful Memorial Day weekend, but really it's so much more than that for me. First, on May 24, for those of you that didn't see my socials or follow my announcements lately, I am deep in the celebrations of Eritrea's Independence Day. Eritrea's Independence Day falls on May 24. It is a day that Eritrean revolutionary fighters liberated the capital city of Asmara in Eritrea in 1991 after a 30-year-long struggle for independence. Watching these soldiers march into the capital city after capturing key towns previously was a moment that I would never forget. I was just a kid, a teenager, on this very historic day. I remember that day distinctly. My mother, who was one of the organizers in the diaspora for Eritrea's independence, was busy gearing up for this day, and she called me from the community organizing place, and I was at home. She called and she said, "Samhare, Eritrea is free." And I remember hearing those words and thinking, what do you mean, Mom? How can that be? I had pretty much grown up in the struggle for Eritrea's independence as a diaspora member. And the idea of Eritrea being independent was always the goal, but for it to actually happen while I was alive and hearing her really blew my mind. And hearing those words, Eritrea is free, is a phrase that I not only honor every day, but especially on May 24, where Eritreans around the world stop and celebrate our independence, not just from colonizers, the Italians who colonized us from 1880 to 1941, or the Brits who administered our post-colonial life from 1941 to 1951, but we also celebrate our independence from Ethiopia in a struggle that ended up moving from a federation that was quite frankly forced on the Eritrean people into an annexation, into a full-on fight for our rights against the Ethiopians, against colonial powers, against people's denial of our existence as a free African country. So Independence Day for Eritreans is much more than independence from our colonizers and the Western world. It is a statement and a proclamation of our right to exist, our right of self-determination, that no one, not even our neighbors, not even our own brothers, can prevent us from saying what we want as truth and experiencing that as free Africans. As a state, Eritrea is now the continent's second newest country. And as Africa's second newest country, the idea of having an Africa Day just one day after our independence is so timely, so interconnected, and so affirming. And so I walk into May 25 carrying the honor and celebration and gratitude for Eritrea's independence. And I weave that into that Pan-African vision of what it means of liberation, independence, and freedom for all Africans. Africa Day was established on May 25, 1963, with the establishment of the Organization of African Unity, OAU. This is basically the regional organization that represents the continent. It's similar to the European Union, similar to ASEAN, similar to the League of Arab States, similar to the Organization of American States. And really, it's more than a regional body. Its establishment on May 25, 1963, was a proclamation of independence in its post-colonial form. It was formed to acknowledge and celebrate the independence of African member states with the fall of colonialism and proclaim control over their destiny and the integration of African member states into the international community. The establishment of OAU was the first in what would be a series of proclamations of independence from the continent, both at the member state level, but also at the people's level. And so Africa Day, in its evolution, the importance of contributions of Africa and its people all over the world. It's not just a rubber stamp sort of celebration about being African. It is layers upon layers of recognition, of honor, of gratitude, of celebration, of proclamation, of ownership, of self-determination, of strength, of resilience, of joy, of love, and what it means to be African. From North Africa to South, from East to West, from the continent to its diaspora, Africa Day touches us all. And here's a couple fun facts I bet you didn't know. For Africa Day, did you know in 2012, the AU officially declared the African diaspora as a sixth region of the continent? What does that mean? Well, Africa has 5 regions: North, South, East, West, and Central Africa. And that is generally the subregions of the continent. But in 2012, recognizing the incredible power and significance of the African diaspora around the world, the historic injustice of the uprooting, kidnapping, and enslavement of African people around the world has led to our populations of people across generations being dispersed throughout the whole continent. And so the African Union realized the importance of recognizing people of African descent as an extension of the continent itself. The declaration of the African diaspora as a sixth region of the continent is a way to keep Africa's people connected to its homeland. The 54 countries we have today, the regions of the continent, the subregions, and the continent as a whole. And this declaration of recognition of the diaspora as a sixth region has unfolded into a series of frameworks and initiatives, policy positions, and programming designed to engage with the African diaspora in the continent. I've worked closely with the African Union over years in their diaspora strategies and frameworks and engagements, and I know that this is a core pillar of the African Union's engagement, both from the continent at its headquarters and throughout its regional offices, but also through its embassies, its permanent missions around the world, and with its member states' embassies around the world. So when you see African governments talking about its diasporas, it isn't just a one-off. It is rooted in a larger Pan-African framework that African Union has established, seeded by the vision of the Organization of African Unity, seeded by the vision of its people around the world, proclaiming their heritage as members of African diaspora, and a reminder that you are always welcome to come back home, to be connected to home, to be a part of the diaspora space. The second fun fact I have for you, do you know what other organization was established even before the Organization of African Union? The first Pan-African institution established on the continent is actually PAWO, the Pan-African Women's Organization, established in 1962, just 1 year before the OAU. So when we commemorate Africa Day and we commemorate the establishment of the OAU, let's not forget that it was actually by African women who first saw the importance of organizing themselves into a Pan-African women's organization to fight for the rights of women and girls and marginalized members of society, and to fight for Africa's rights, but also show what it means to institutionalize, establish yourselves as an organization, and proclaim your critical role in society. When I celebrate May 25, Africa Day, it is much more than the African Union, the African diaspora, the African member states. It is also deeply feminist in the recognition of the importance of PAWO's role in motivating and driving the momentum to help build the establishment of the OAU. So I give honor to the Eritrea's struggle for independence on May 24. I give honor and gratitude to the celebration of Africa Day on May 25. I give even more honor and gratitude to the strength and collective resistance of African women around the world. And I enter May 26 with all that joy, honor, and gratitude, with the celebration of my own life, another year around the sun. And every day at May 26, I get to celebrate my birthday with this reminder and this heritage and this power and this strength wrapped all around me. So it is definitely a weekend filled with joy. It is a series of days I look forward to every year, and it is a reminder
of the mission that we have at hand as members of the African diaspora, to discover your heritage, discover your power, find ways to become and feel connected, and to give back and pay it forward. When I talk about the power of your diaspora journey, this is what I'm talking about. Unearthing the lineage that you come from, ancestral or not. It is a reminder that your lineage is, yes, your bloodline, but it is more than a heritage in the physical sense. It is heritage in the mindset sense. If you identify as a member of the African diaspora, you can do an ancestry test, you can talk to your elders, but you can also look at your face, look at your heart, look at your mind. And if you feel Africa is calling you, you are part of that diaspora. For anyone who identifies as a member of the African diaspora, Africa is home for you. It is one of many homes you can proclaim. But please know that you don't have to pick, you don't have to choose. You can have many homes, and for many of us, Africa will always feel home in our heart. I'm so proud to be African. I'm so proud to be American. And even with all of the injustices and the sufferings of people across all those three spaces, I also know that we are powerful and that united, we can never be divided. I know that it is incumbent on me and many others to do our own work, to liberate ourselves in order to liberate others. And when we talk about liberation, it is of the mind, it is of the heart, it is liberating yourself from fears, it is leading with love, and it is standing up for what's right. You will find a way to do that that fits for your life, but the first step is to stand up for yourself and honor yourself. And this is what this weekend does for me. So catch me on May 24 to May 26, and I am full of replenished energy, power, and strength and love. And I just welcome you and invite you to celebrate with me. So this is my Africa Day message to all of you. That's it from the Second Gen Life podcast. I can't wait to hear from you. See you soon, everybody.
Don't forget to subscribe, like, and follow That Second Gen Life with Samhar on your favorite listening platform.